I'm the home for intelligent Black people. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. It's so good to see everybody. I hope you guys are doing well tonight. Tonight, we are going to talk about a few things. I want to start off talking about inflation, and I'm going to give you a list of some things that actually cost less than they did before, in case you're looking for some inflationary relief. Also, I want to talk a little bit about life and success and just what that looks like. This is on my soul, so I'm going to share some of this. So get comfortable, buckle up a seatbelt. We're going to get started on drboycetv.com right now.
Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm, great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones who late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to cosign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr. Boyce TV. Here we are.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. I want to say what's up to everybody. I hope you guys are doing well. I see Minister Schultz is the first one in here. Let me know if you guys can hear me okay. Give me a quick audio check. Give me a yes in the chat if you can hear me. Let me know if you can hear me all right. Also, I want you guys to know this podcast is on Spotify. So if you look up my name on Spotify, you can find me there. Or also, I have another podcast on Spotify I created not too long ago called How to Make Money Without Working. So if you look up How to Make Money Without Working on Spotify, you can find me there as well. So anyway, so let me let you guys know what I was thinking about. I was thinking about inflation and how inflation has kind of been creeping up into the economy. The stock market's been doing extremely well, by the way. If you've been missing out on the market, I feel bad for you because you're missing out on money, real money that's actually like appearing before your eyes. But then again, some people like to earn money the hard way, so I can't really. I'm not going to get mad at you for it. I just hope that you give me some of your attention. And what I'm going to do is give you a list of things that cost more now and things that actually cost less. One thing about inflation that's really interesting that a lot of people don't know is that inflation doesn't affect the entire economy the same. Inflation is not some big economic blanket that kind of hits everything in the same way. Inflation kind of ebbs and flows. It hits different parts of the economy in different ways. So give me a yes or no right now. I want to ask you guys, do you think that that inflation is out of control? Does inflation bother you? Do you process it at all? Let me know. What do you guys think about it? And also, I want to say hello to RC and Letitia Pearson. I see you, Lisa Parker, Jermaine Trusty. Shout out the city you're from. Let me know what city you're from also. Right. So, I know that some of you are affected by inflation in different ways. Now, the first thing I want to explain about inflation is that there are people that benefit from inflation. Inflation does not hurt everybody. Right. The people that are hurt by inflation the most are people who are workers who don't have any investments, who don't own any assets. This is one of the reasons why in my book, The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power, which is a bestseller on Amazon, by the way, thanks to Michelle on our team who actually put the book also on Audible. It's on Audible now if you want to go get a copy on Audible. And basically, one of the things that I talk about in this book is that if you own assets, you actually benefit from things like inflation. People who own real estate, they benefit when the value of real estate goes up. People who own stock, they benefit when the price of consumer items go up because corporate profitability goes up. People that own commodities, things like that, they go up in price. Whether even it's things like oil and gold, they benefit when inflation happens. So don't ever think for a second that inflation hurts everybody. There's a reason why the Fed aims for 2% inflation. They don't aim for 0%. They aim for 2%. Now, the people that get hurt the most are workers who don't have assets. Why? Well, because the one thing that doesn't tend to go up in an inflationary period is workers' wages. Workers' wages tend to remain flat when inflation hits, and that's very sad for the economy. Now, here is another aspect of inflation I want you to understand. It doesn't affect all products the same. Now, what I'm going to do is list some items here that have been hit really hard by inflation, and then I'm going to name some things that actually had not disinflation, but actually deflation. Like disinflation is when the rate of inflation starts to slow down. It's like driving in a car, you're going 80 miles an hour, you go, and then now you're going 60, but you're still moving forward. You're just not moving forward as fast as you were before. That's disinflation. Deflation is when you're actually going backward. Deflation is when you just sort of turn the car around and go the other way when you put the sucker in reverse, right? Let me know if you know what I'm talking about here. All right, so the thing that's been hit the most, this is according to Yahoo Finance, in the last year, the highest rate of inflation was actually in rent. Rent has gone up 7.2%. So, again, warn your kids. Make sure your kids, if they are renters, make sure that's temporary because I do believe that long term there is a plan by companies like BlackRock to make everybody into a renter. I think they want to own all the property. They want property ownership to become something that only rich people can do. So the price of rent has gone up 7.2%. Personal care, 6%. Meals, 5.4%. Housing, 5.2%. Earnings, 4.1%. Okay, so that's not terrible, right? You did have that period where the labor market was very tight, and so earnings had to go up in order to attract talent. Let's keep going here. Let's see here. Pet, 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 and pet products went up. Alcohol went up 3.7%. Recreation went up 3.2%. Overall inflation 3.2%. Prescription drugs 3.1%. Education 2.7%. Okay, so that is one area where inflation has gone up. Those are some of the key areas. And thank you very much, love and peace, for your comment. He said, "Thank you for much love and respect for actually teaching us stuff instead of other people going retarded on the internet with thousands of views." Yeah, I don't want to be a spectacle. I'm not here to just get views because I'm stupid. If you're stupid, then yeah, you're gonna get hit hard. But you're gonna get the big numbers. But I don't want to be stupid. My daddy told me that being stupid is not cool. Now, C Dub, you said the audio's a little shaky and muffled. Let me know about my audio. Is my audio okay? I'm kind of concerned now. Now you got me feeling a little bit self-conscious. If it is a little bit shaky, then maybe I'll fix it for next time. I'm truly sorry if that's your experience. I don't know why I got my microphone plugged in and everything should be working normally. Like now y'all got me looking at my settings here. Let me know if you can hear me okay. Give me a quick yes if I'm coming through all right. I want to make sure I'm coming through good before we keep going. All right. Okay. All right. So let's keep going here. And thank you, Lisa, for your comment. I see you in there as well. Now, here are the areas where inflation actually went negative. This is where you had deflation. The biggest category of deflation was actually airfare. Airfare dropped by 13.2%. How many of y'all knew that? Did y'all know that the price of airfare has gone down 13.2%? That's huge. The price of rental cars down 9.6%. Used vehicles down 7.1%, gasoline negative 5.3%, toys negative 3.7%, household energy negative 3.2%, school and books negative 3.2%, furniture negative 2.9%. So that's kind of crazy, right? That's nuts. I did not know that that you had that much deflation in these segments of the economy. But what's interesting though is that some of these things dropped, they cooled off in price because the price had gone up so much, right? So the price went way up. So sometimes something will go up by 20% or whatever, and then it'll drop by 5 or 6% because it's simply like a dead cat bounce. It's kind of like it already went so hard that it had to slow down. It's like a basketball team that's on an 8-game winning streak. At some point, they're going to lose. Their odds of losing increase with every win that they have, right? So here, it's kind of the same way. Some of these things look good in terms of price reductions because they went up so much. So I'd be curious to know for most of these categories, like airfare or rental cars and used vehicles, how does the price today compare to what it was, 5 years ago, what it was pre-pandemic? Because let me just say this too: the economy has been absolutely wrecked because of the pandemic. Your government absolutely the wrecked the economy during the pandemic. And I don't know why my audio is acting a little bit weird button or two. I'm so sorry, Letitia. I'm gonna do my best. But you gotta forgive me. Maybe next time I go through Zoom or something. 'Cause now I'm all mad because Letitia told me my audio's cutting in and out. But yeah, so effectively during the pandemic, one of the biggest mistakes that they made was that they pretty much wrote a blank check on the economy. These damn idiots in Congress, and they are complete idiots, I'm telling you, these idiots in Congress literally just said, let's be arrogant Americans and let's just spend money like rappers. And rappers just aren't good with money, and neither are politicians. And so they've been making it rain on the economy, and they've pretty much destroyed our economic system. They've harmed us in so many ways that I don't think we're ever going to actually fix that in any significant way. I don't see any pathway to fixing this. I just don't. Not under the democracy as it's structured. There's no incentive whatsoever for politicians to be financially responsible. Your kids and grandkids are gonna pay a price for this. They are. Our kids and grandkids are all gonna pay a price for this, and it's unacceptable. It's unbelievable. Here's the other thing you gotta think about. If there is another, um okay, see, Chairman of course says my microphone needs maintenance. Now, maybe it's my Wi-Fi or something. I have no idea. I'm really upset right now. Okay, I know you guys can hear me on Instagram, so I appreciate that. I don't know why this is doing this. I'm very upset. So next time I'm just gonna try Zoom or something. I don't know. Can you guys hear me okay? Let me know. Give me a yes if you can hear me okay. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and finish this up, and then I'm gonna find out what is going on here and why my audio is acting so weird. I'm testing my microphone here. My volumes are moving. The little orange dots are moving. So it looks like I'm talking. So I'm gonna keep going. But basically overall, you have you have just this situation where your economy is very fragile. If we get hit by one more economic crisis, one more pandemic, a war, God forbid, we're just, I mean, we're gonna be toast. These numbers look really bad. If I showed you the national debt clock, you would totally you would totally understand where I'm coming from. It looks atrocious. It looks horrible. I mean, and I just don't know what the game plan is here. I guess these people are just stupid, to be honest with you. But then again, I'm a professor, so I've learned to be careful about calling people stupid because maybe I just have a lot of extra insight because I do happen to have a PhD in finance. So I have to accept the fact that maybe the things that I'm seeing very clearly are things that they cannot see. I have no idea, but I just don't know how that's going to work. And I do think that things like inflation are a concern, but even more deeper concern are the massive debt levels and the irresponsible spending because the inflation was preventable. The inflation was quite predictable. They were, and then on top of that, I agree. We've got this whole thing where we're sending billions of dollars so the Israelis can go blow up the Palestinians. I don't even know why in the hell we need to be funding a war for this other group of people. I'm not saying that you have to pick a side. I'm not telling you who you should empathize with one way or the other. I'm not saying that one side is right and the other one's wrong. I'll let you make that decision. I just don't understand what we got to do with it. Why are you writing checks on my behalf to go fund wars that I did not tell you to get involved with? That's the part that bothers me. I'm not saying that again. I'm not saying that you have to believe the Palestinians or the Israelis are wrong or right. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying why are you using my money to buy missiles and tanks and guns and ships and planes and whatever to allow you to do these things? Because without our money, you couldn't even be doing this. If we weren't writing the check, you wouldn't be able to go fly over a hospital and blow it up, right? So I kind of um I believe in karma, chickens coming home to roost, all that sort of thing. I don't want these chickens coming home to roost because I know that if I'm a little kid and I'm at Gaza Strip and somebody blew up my family in front of me or whatever, I'm gonna be mad for the rest of my life. I'm gonna have one mission, and y'all know what that is. It's gonna be revenge on the people that did this to me, and that's the part of being an American that bothers me is that there are people going around the world doing horrible things on our behalf in our name that's ultimately going to come back, and affect us, and it makes me very, very sad. So anyway, you said that you can hear me better. Let me know if you can hear me. Please confirm that for me that you can hear me better now. I unplugged my microphone and replugged it in. Maybe the magic worked. I hope it did. So I assume you can hear me. Do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. You're watching drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. Also, we are going to have a meeting for our stock options income program. It's called Prime. It's very, very good. Everyone loves it. If you'd like to take a look at it and see what we do, just go to drboyceprime.com. That's drboyceprime.com. That URL is right there on the screen. And also, if you'd like to get profit alerts of stocks that I like, I send those out to students periodically. You can get those for free. Just text the word stock to 31996. text stock to 31996. My goal is to make every person in my community into an investor because I want all of you to get ahead. And I know the secrets. My PhD is in finance, so I know a lot. I'd love to share those things with you, and that's what we're doing in the Black Business School. We're doing it at a very high level. All right, so a couple more thoughts that I had. This is just a random thought here, and I hope it's okay if I share this. Um, I want to talk about something that I was discussing with my mother today. My mother and I, we had a party this weekend to celebrate overcoming a health issue in our family. And when we were there, I saw my sister's friends. My sister's a medical doctor, and I saw some of her friends that she knew before she went to medical school. And I remember when they were in college. And I remember that some of them were going to go to medical school, and some of them were not, or some of them were going to drop out. And effectively, one of them didn't just go to medical school, but she actually finished. And now, 20 something years later, she's a bougie, very successful. In fact, she's the head of medical admissions at a major university, and her husband is a very successful dentist. And I think they make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, and I'm extremely proud of them. And I remembered, I told my mother, I said, I remember years ago talking to the same person, the same young lady, and her telling me that she was thinking about not going to medical school because something went wrong, and I guess she didn't pass a certain test or whatever it was. And I remember us having a pep talk with her and kind of saying, "No, you can do it. Here's what you do. You can't give up. Blah 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 blah." And I remember specifically hearing her say, "Yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm going to medical school." And here it is, 20 something years later, and now she's a highly successful doctor, making lots of money, doing really important work. And what we figured out is this, and I want y'all to hear this, especially anybody under that's younger than me or even the same age as me. I figured out the secret to greatness. I figured it out. Y'all want to hear it? I figured out the secret to success and being great. It's not giving up. It's literally just not giving up. It's like sort of understanding that whatever you're trying to do, you're gonna feel sloppy. You're gonna feel messy. You're gonna feel like you didn't really earn it. You're gonna feel like you got your ass kicked the entire time. You're not gonna sprint across the finish line. You might crawl across that damn finish line and wonder how it was just through the grace of God and the skin of your ass that you actually made it there. I kid you not. And the older I get, the more I find out that that is the common experience among most highly successful people, is that literally the only thing that made the difference between those successful people and those who are not successful is the choice to just not quit. Like, I'm not going to give up. I'm going to retool. I'm going to take a break and go back at it. I'm going to figure out a new strategy. I'm going to twist and turn and bend and bob and do whatever I got to do, because quitting is not an option. And the thing about it is, persistence ain't pretty. Persistence ain't pretty. You ain't gonna look cute at the end of a marathon. You ain't. I've seen people finishing marathons. They're vomiting, their legs are hurting, they're bleeding. They're woozy, falling to the ground. Like you don't look fly being great. Greatness that does not look fly. Greatness only looks fly after you've recovered and cleaned yourself up and rewritten the story to make it to package it in a beautiful way. But the process of it is about the ugliest shit ever. It's as ugly as childbirth. Has anybody ever seen a baby being born? Have you ever seen how the vagina gets stretched and how much pain and agony there is, and the wife is sweating, her perm all jacked up, and she's screaming and cussing and going crazy and wondering how this baby's gonna come out of her body. Like having a baby is an excruciating process, right? But thank God we have women, for whatever reason, y'all are still able to pull it off, and you do it. And then what happens when you get done? You're like transformed. You're like this different person. You grow from that experience. You grow from that. It reminds me of like war. Like when men have to go to war, war is not pretty. War is not glorious and beautiful and where you're standing tall and feeling great. War is like where you're scared, you're getting shot at, you're getting injured, you're getting traumatized, your friends get their face blown off, you're muddy, you're dirty, you're barely trying to survive, you can't sleep, it's horrible. It's horrible. And the whole time you're kind of on this brink, right, of doing this crazy difficult thing that gets a lot of people killed, just like a lot of women die in childbirth, a lot of men die in war. But the people that survive childbirth get a chance for their genes to live on to the next generation. They achieve something great when they have that baby. That greatness is achieved because now you've allowed yourself to live another 70, 80 years through this person that you've somehow found a way to pull through your body. And same thing is true with war. You found a way to survive something that a lot of men don't survive. And now you get the spoils that come with it and extra territory and wealth and glory and everything. Why? Well, why does the world give you that? Well, because the shit's hard. It's really, really hard. And so I think that's a great way to look at anything hard that you're trying to do in life. I think that really what you got to understand, this is why God told me to share this message with you today, is that I really sat here and I talked to my mother about all these young people that we knew back in the day that were trying to become doctors, who were sloppy and raggedy and broke and failing classes and couldn't figure it out and thinking about dropping out and did drop out and went off the wrong path or whatever. And I'm like, wow, look at this. Like, if you were to look at them now, you would have no idea that it was that messy. Like, even with me, you would have no idea how I, like, crawled across that damn finish line when I finally finished my PhD. 5, 6 years of complete torture, complete hell, uncertainty, stress, working my butt off and still failing, like getting my ass kicked constantly. But literally doing one simple thing, just one simple thing, just saying, like, I'm not gonna stop. I'm gonna keep going. And it doesn't always come, you don't even always say that with your chest out either. Sometimes you say it because you're just desperate. Right? You just say it because you ain't got nowhere else to go, or you say it because quitting just isn't an option and you have to go recharge your battery. But that's really something I want to share with anybody that wants to be successful at something, is that greatness isn't pretty, right? I almost think of it like, if you think about a guy who just won a Super Bowl, he won the Super Bowl, he's got the big trophy, but think about this, like, he's had friends that got injured, he's waking up sore the next day, he's got brain damage and swollen, Patrick Mahomes had a broken ankle damn near when he won his Super Bowl. It's ugly as hell. And it's sort of those people who are humble enough to kind of confront, humble, yet humble and courageous enough, who have enough substance, who choose to be made of whatever stuff you have to be made of, where they will just face up to the adversity, the pain, and the difficulty and the raggediness, and still just drag their raggedy ass onto the finish line. We'll just kind of keep going. In a way, marriage is like that too. You got two people that go into types of relationship, into long-term relationships. You got those people that come into it expecting the fairy tale, and then you got people that come into it expecting the real shit. Like, they know that marriage, you'd be amazed how many 30-year marriages kind of were hanging on by a string. Like, just literally all that kept them together was like culture and values and the respect they have for the institution of marriage. That if they didn't have that appreciation for for reaching the finish line, there's no way they would have done it, because they say, why would I put myself through all this torture in order to make this thing work? And some people say that that's illogical, and I'm not going to say that you're wrong on that, but there's something that matters to them, right? Family matters to them, right? Keeping structure for the children matters to them. Winning that war matters to them. So even if they looking raggedy winning the war, even if they're in a marriage that feels just dysfunctional and weird and awkward and strange and hard, they're still like, no, but quitting is not an option. That's just not what we're going to do. That's what Tabitha Brown said. And I have a lot of respect for Tabitha when she said that. When she said that, yeah, we went through all kinds of ugliness, but we just knew that we weren't going to end this marriage. We were going to be married because we took vows and we stick to our vows. That's what we do. That's how we're built. Right. And they see, there you go, a bigger picture, whatever it is. Right. So I'm not telling you everybody to go get married. I'm not telling you anything about what your value should be. I'm not telling you anything about what should be important to you or what should matter to you. What I'm saying to you is that when you decide what matters to you, two things. One, just know that the glory everything will be pretty. Accept the fact that you're gonna feel raggedy and you're gonna feel unworthy at times. You're just gonna feel like, "Damn, like, I thought this was gonna be pretty. I thought the climb would be beautiful. The climb ain't beautiful. The climb is horrible, and I'm feeling kinda shitty right now." So you gotta make sure that the shittiness is worth it, right? If it ain't worth it, then go do something else because this is not for you. Number 2, if you have a value system that says that this thing over here matters to you, like graduating from school or staying married or finishing a marathon or losing weight or becoming wealthy and building a business, whatever it is, if once you decide that it matters to you, pick your teammates carefully. Pick teammates who have a value alignment that is consistent with your own, so that they too will have the fortitude to endure the awkwardness and raggediness that comes with finding a way to to use scotch tape to hold this shit together so you can get to the damn finish line. Like, you have to have somebody that gets it, because if they don't get it, like I talked to a young lady who told me just today. She said, yeah, I was in a relationship with a guy, we had some problems, and then the next thing I know, we're arguing, and he packs his bags and just walks out the door and says, I'm not putting up with this shit. And I was like, wait, what happened here? Right. And I said, okay, that means y'all just weren't equally yoked. Like, you were in it for the long haul. You were trying to run a marathon, but he's not a marathon runner. He's a sprinter. You valued that whole idea of fighting through it and sticking together. He didn't. At least he didn't want to do it with you. Whatever it is, he just wasn't the right. He was not the person for you. Right. So I would encourage you, if you're talking about something like a relationship or starting a business or doing anything with other people, even if you're talking about climbing Mount Everest. They had this picture of these black people that were all a group that all climbed Mount Everest. And I saw this group climb Mount Everest together. They showed these pictures of them on these crazy high peaks and everything else. And I said, those are some rough, dogged, rough, determined black people. These are not average Negroes. Average Negroes would be like, no, girl, it's too cold up here. It's too hard. Ain't enough oxygen. I'm tired. I ain't in shape. Right. Average people would not be able to do that. So they had an elite group of people that were all equally built, equally yoked. They all saw value of being on the top of Mount Everest. I wouldn't have been the person to be in that group. I did not belong in that group. Why? Well, because I don't give a damn about being at the top of Mount Everest. That would mean absolutely nothing to me. I would not know. It's not worth it. Right. So don't put me in your group. Right. So some people don't need to be in your group. That's what I'm saying. Some people don't need to be in your clique. Some people don't need to be in your life. Figure out what matters for you, what you're willing to sacrifice for, and then humble yourself to that objective. I hear people talking about things like the word submit in relationships, and I hear people say, I'll never submit. And I think that's bullshit. Everybody has to submit to something. And if you don't submit to something greater than yourself, then in my view, you have no purpose in life. In my view, you don't even understand the higher power, the existence of a higher power. Everybody has to submit to something greater than themselves. It could be your family. You submit to my family. I want my family to be together. So even if I have to humble myself, and put my priorities in the back, I'm going to do that to get my family where they need to get to. I submit myself to being a great dad. I submit myself to losing weight. So even though I want to be cocky and eat Twizzlers and popcorn and hamburgers, I'm not going to do that because I know that this is not going to be good for me. So whatever raggedy way coping mechanism I have to come up with in order to stick to this objective, I'm going to do that. I submit. I submit to my wife every day because I love my wife and I want our marriage to work. Right. So that means that the old Boyce Watkins, the pre-marriage Boyce Watkins, does not exist. I murdered his ass before I jumped into this marriage, and a new Boyce had to be born because the old Boyce could not have survived in the environment that I'm in right now. So he won't get the rewards that I'm going to receive once we get to the finish line. Hopefully we will. Same thing. So whatever it is that matters to you, you submit to that thing, and then you find other people that submit to that thing. And this is what's interesting here. This is just me sort of reflecting out loud. But you know how they always talk about families that pray together, stay together, and stuff like that. I do believe that there's something to that, because I think that if you even think about something like God, two people that are both submitted to God have sort of an alignment in values that is bigger than themselves and each other. So me being with you and me staying married to you, me staying committed to you, it's not about me having faith in you or me having faith in your behavior or me believing that you're never going to let me down. It's really my commitment to something bigger than you that keeps me focused on keeping this thing together. Do you understand what I'm saying? Right. I really do believe let's just talk about the relationship stuff, because that was what was on my mind as I was talking to a 32-year-old woman today about this. I really kind of think that what tends to make these things work is connecting with somebody that has some higher order idea that they're committed to, that's bigger than just whether or not this human being is going to let me down. Because I do believe that people are always going to let you down. The hard thing about humans is that human beings are always going to be human. Give me a yes if you understand what I'm saying. Human beings will never stop being human. Human beings will never stop being flawed. Human beings will never stop disappointing you. It's always going to happen. Human beings will never stop being imperfect. But but what commits me to my wife is not my commitment to this idea that she's going to be perfect. What makes me committed to my wife is a commitment to a higher order value that says that Boyce Watkins is a family man, right? The higher order value is that Boyce Watkins is heading this household, and that I'm building this thing, and I want this thing to survive. I believe in the black family. I believe in helping the black woman heal through, go through her healing. I believe in being there for black children, right? So these more perfect ideas are the things that I submit to that allow me to look past the flaws of the person that I'm sitting next to say, okay, let's get back to the bigger picture. Let's focus on the bigger issue. Right. And I don't really know. I think that some people that are raised in a certain way, I think that I don't know if it's because the world is petty and small minded, or that's what we get from the internet. But I see a lot of like, well, I'm not gonna put up with that, and that ain't gonna be right. And it's okay. People can think that way, but that's not those aren't the people that you should be trying to build relationships with. So I don't even want my wife to necessarily be in love with me as much as I want her to be in love with the bigger picture, right? Because if we're both focused on the bigger picture, then we can still stay together even when we get on each other's nerves, and be okay with that, right? Like when I went to college, and I was committed to the bigger idea of being a college graduate. I was committed to the bigger purpose of believing that I have to finish school, right? And what that did was that helped me to get past the feeling I might have had if I had a bad day on campus, or if I got a bad grade in class, or I had something go wrong in school, right? Because if I didn't have this bigger idea, this bigger vision of who I wanted to be and what I want my life to be, then I would have dropped out. A lot of people think about this. Why do people drop out of college versus the ones that stay? Two people can have the exact same experience in college. One goes home, the other one sticks it out. What's the difference? Well, one of them has a commitment to a bigger idea. The bigger idea is, no, I must finish college because I want to be a college graduate, and because graduating from college is important to me to be successful in life. So I'm willing to endure my pain tolerance. My pain threshold is extremely high to deal with this experience in order to get what I believe I need to achieve, right? The other person's like, why am I doing this? Like, this is irritating. This is painful. I don't want to get up in the morning. Class is boring. It's expensive. Why am I here? I can just go back home and just live whatever life I had back home. Right. So again, I'm not judging what your values are, what you believe in. I'm just asking you to figure out what matters to you. Right? And also, I'm here to deliver this important message for those of you that don't understand, is that success is almost never pretty. And the more extreme the success is, the uglier it gets. Another example I'll throw out to you is Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan is one of the most successful human beings on the planet, at least when it comes to basketball. He's succeeded at the highest levels against the greatest athletes on the planet in front of millions of people. He's done it. That's why he's a billionaire. He gets all the rewards that come with that. But if you look at him as a human being in terms of the sacrifice he made to be that person, the sacrifice is almost unbearable. Michael Jordan spent many years not being incredibly antisocial because he was always on the basketball court. His wife wasn't real happy with him when she divorced him years later. His children, he doesn't have a great relationship with his kids. And most people, to be honest with you, and I have to be careful when I say this because I know someone who knows Michael very well, Larry Miller, who's the former CEO of the Air Jordan brand, brilliant guy, good friend, love this guy a lot. He knows Michael really well, so I'm going to be really careful. But I'm going to be honest with you. I have to keep it 100 when I tell you that most people I know that have met Michael, a lot, at least 90% of them say he's an asshole. Right now, is that true? I don't know. If I ever meet him, I will come back and let you know what I think. But I know Larry's a wonderful guy. That's all I know. Right. So here's the thing. Um, I think that there's a lot of psychological damage that he went through to become great. I think that if you think about even things like what happened with his father, I wonder if that's connected. I mean, the very least, that's connected to his fame, right? On some level, I bet you. I think that he's paid a price that most people would not pay. In terms of just even the pain in practice on the court, working harder than everybody else, but also the other things where he had to sort of find a way to focus in the middle of all kinds of chaos. And I can just tell you that it probably wasn't as pretty as it looks. It looks beautiful to us because we get to watch him, playing these masterful games, hitting the last second shot, winning 6 championships in a row. It looks beautiful and perfect on the outside, but I bet you on the inside, it is probably the most tumultuous, emotional hurricane that you can ever possibly imagine that a human being to go through. I bet it looks. It's almost like synchronized swimming. If you ever watch synchronized swimming looks beautiful above the surface, but below the surface is nothing but complete chaos. So this is my best descriptor of what it's like to be successful. Now, I'm not Michael Jordan, but I can tell you that I studied Michael Jordan when I was 22 years old and I read his book, and actually I picked up principles that from that book that I applied to my life. So, and I can say that I have had success. I was the only black person, male or female, to get a PhD in finance in the year 2002. There was not another person on the planet that achieved that same objective. When I was in college, I was the number one undergrad in finance. I got a Wall Street Journal Outstanding Graduating Senior Award. I got three major, triple major. I got 2 bachelor's degrees in 4 years. I could have got 3, but I had a full time job at the same time. Like I killed it. I absolutely killed it in a lot of ways. I achieved most of the goals that I had for myself. But one thing I can tell you is that I wish most people understood that success at a high level just doesn't feel the way it looks. It looks amazing from the outside. It looks easy from the outside. It looks just elegant from the outside. But on the other side of that, it's awkwardness, it's raggediness, it's embarrassment, it's constant failure. It's like constantly picking your face up off the floor. It can be absolutely awkward and horrible. So what I would encourage you to do is to find some way to embrace and process that. This is one of the reasons why I'm a big believer in therapy. In the Black Business School, we created the first ever Black financial therapy department because the therapy, it's the trauma, unhealed trauma that causes our financial problems in our community, among other problems. And I'm a big believer in therapy because I think that what happens is that when you're putting yourself through the extreme pain of giving birth to a new reality, it's a lot like childbirth. Childbirth is very painful. And what happens with that? Well, sometimes you rip organs apart. You know, you have some damage, and there has to be extensive healing that occurs as a result of the pain that you went through in order to give birth to this new reality called a baby, right? And the same thing is true when you're giving birth to the new reality of your life, whatever that is. You going to the next level, you building that $1 million business, you running that marathon, you losing 100 pounds, whatever that new reality is, it's going to be just as painful as childbirth. Or if you think about a man who goes to war and he goes off to battle and he survives the war, well, he's going to come back. He's going to have injuries. He's going to have physical injuries, psychological injuries. He's going to have all these things that need to be healed. So I'm a big believer in therapy because I believe that people that are really committed to things, people that really want to achieve things, people that really want to go to the next level are going to end up you're going to end up putting yourself through a hell of a lot of pain, a hell of a lot of discomfort, and a hell of a lot of awkwardness because you're committed to this higher purpose. So for that, I congratulate you. But also, I empathize with you. I have sympathy and empathy for you, and I encourage you to make sure that when you're fighting these battles, you go get the healing that you need, so that you can show up as a healthy, whole person and truly enjoy the spoils that come with achieving the goal. Like you finish the marathon, now you need to go and rest your legs and getting some Epsom salt and get a massage and go get some some stretching or whatever you got to do to make your body healthy again because you put yourself through something, right? So that's all. That's what was on my spirit today. I know we started talking about the inflation thing and we did cover that, and I'm sorry about what happened with the microphone. I hope y'all can forgive me for that. But really, this was just something I wanted to share, and I said, I think somebody out there might benefit from this message. So I hope it was helpful to you. I didn't talk for a while because I don't want to just be out here talking shit on the internet. I really wanted to say something that was going to make your life better, and that's the goal. All right, so if you could do me a favor, please hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. Also, my podcast is on Spotify. We've achieved about 1.3 million downloads now. So thank you for that. I put up content every single day on Spotify. So if you look up Boyce Watkins on Spotify, you'll find my podcast. I have two podcasts on Spotify. One's called the Dr. Boyce Breakdown, where I talk about any and everything. The other one's called How to Make Money Without Working. That's strictly financial. So whatever your preference is, you can follow one or the other, both. It's totally up to you. And also, my book is The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power, and you can find that book at drboycebooks.com. And there's also other books that I have as well, like Black American Money and stuff like that. And also, even my old book, What If George Bush Were a Black Man? I wrote that a long time ago, but it's a really interesting breakdown of the experience of the black male in America and kind of explaining racism in kind of what I think was a pretty unique way. So anyway, that's my 2 cents. So I have a bunch of books out there, so feel free to take a look. All right, guys, I'm out of here. God bless you. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll check back in with you a little bit later, and I'll see you soon. Take care now. Peace.
Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones who late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to co-sign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, Triple 10, 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Please none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr. Boyce TV. Here we are.